Like we just started chipping out capacitors, and it's like, oh yeah, you're at 30K now. That's fantastic. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Automation Empire. My name is Arctic Wolf, and this is episode 16. In our last episode, we did quite a lot of resource gathering. We went over to the other side of the river. Over there, we collected all the resource nodes on that side of the river, and we brought them over in here. Half of the coal is going into this building for the gold fuel. Half of the coal is going into this building for the steel plates, and then all of the iron is coming down here to get smelted for steel plates. In today's episode, I'm going to move the science. I'm going to decouple it from this gold fuel station, and I'm going to hook it into this gold fuel station over here, probably on this side of it, in the back here. Then we're going to add a building and a train line for capacitors while our research is ticking up. Like we can't even claim that right now. But we need to unlock water as soon as possible so we can get, and we need to unlock oil as soon as possible. So we have water. We need to unlock oil. This is unlocked. Okay. Must have done that last episode and forgot about it. So we'll get that going. We're going to increase, now that we have water, that changes everything. We can put in some water tanks over here somewhere, and we can run water out to all of these miners. Every miner that we have can get water run to it, and that will increase our production by 50%. We also need to optimize the gold factory and use the 3-to-1 mergers for the outgoing. That'll save us a bunch of money as well. And I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna work on it. With the end goal being to unlock the oil today. Maybe capacitors. Let's see where we're at here. I might get some capacitors going. Ionized capacitors need what? Water? And capacitors? Yeah. But it's just a cooker. You don't need to combine it with anything. Okay. That's interesting. So like you cook the iron, you cook the coal, you combine them together, and then you get it wet and cook it again. That's interesting. We're going to need the ethanol, which uses the red grain and oil, which comes from crude. Okay, and that'll give us, we mix the ethanol with the gold fuel and water. So that's a recipe to look at. To get the mega fuel, we need to use gold, coal to get our gold fuel, and we need to use red grain and oil to get the ethanol, and then we need to mix it all together. That's going to be a complicated process to set up. We're going to reserve this section of the island over here for that. We might reroute this track back this way and use this whole section here. But okay, so move the science, and then capacitors maybe, or water to the miners. Depends on what I'm feeling like when I get there. But here we go. Cue time lapse. And speed up. There we go. Okay, so we rip out all the science, we move it over. We're going to feed it off of the other side of this train station. A lot of what happens in this game is put stuff down and check things and then tear it out and move it. That's okay. We're getting used to that by now, right? So I tried with 2 of the big bins, and then I was like, nah, 4 science is not going to, 4 of the research things is just not going to do it. So we'll do something like this here, which is the same setup we had over there, but now we're going to turn it 90 degrees and bring it around like this, and we're going to use each bin off of a different science research bay, whatever they're called. And then we got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we'll just add 1 more, so we have 10. And I think we get just over 100,000 for a full amount of research with gold. So when we collect that, we should get 1 million research. So we need to collect it at least twice. Then we go and start the water. I added 4 of the water. They're just like water tanks. I noticed when you're messing with these pipes, you can make a T intersection, as you can see right there, a T junction with the pipes, and it does work. But you have to run a pipe into an already existing straight pipe on the ground. You cannot run off the end of a corner and make a T junction. And yeah, so that you can't run into a corner with a straight pipe to make a T junction. So it's like you have to rework it. It only works one way. These elevated pipes really help to get over the train tracks. That's really a handy feature. These things run just like the minecart tracks, basically. They connect into all the same ports as your transfer tubes. So you just connect you just have to run it to the building. You don't even have a special spot to connect it. Like the power poles have to connect to the corner of a building. This don't care. It runs into the side of the building, you got water in the building. And then you can transfer from any other spot on the building to another building. So that makes running the water through the whole network really easy. It does take a while to do the water, but it's worth it because it reduces the maintenance cost in all the buildings that the water is connected to, and increases the output of all of the miners that the water is connected to. So we run it in here and then connect everything up, and then we have to rebalance and readjust our miners, or not our miners, our smelters. That's the one. That's the word I couldn't find today. We have to rework our smelters to deal with the new increase in resources that we've got. It takes a little bit of work in some of these places to get these pipes to fit in, especially in this area here where I ran the train line and the mine cars are right next to the miners. Well, that ends up being a little bit of a headache to deal with later on. So just keep that in mind. If you're playing this game and you haven't done that yet, don't do it. It's a bad idea. But I'm thinking in the next episode we're going to have to rip all this out and start over now that we have water and oil. We're going to start producing the mega fuel and unlock the rockets. so that we can work towards the final advancement. We're not that far off. Like, we just hit the 30,000 in this episode at the end. So maybe maybe two more episodes, and then we're going to be switching to a new game. I'm going to shut up now and let you guys listen to some music. Okay, and we're back. So while I was working with this gold building, I realized that I could save a little bit of space. I mean, one row of tiles in the factory on the way I've got those boxers set up, because they don't need to go out and then travel one block away from the boxer before the crane grabs it. So I can save one row of space per row, and in a long factory, possibly add another row of ovens, refiners. So that's good. When we get to building our final factories in the next episode, I'll show you about all that. But if you notice during that song, I hit the science for the first time. Ends up getting 3 science, full science collections during this episode. The first one I used to unlock the maximum minecart speed, maximum number of minecarts per train, and I think that was it. I might have gotten the train intervals too, but then I go around and I add maximum minecars to all the minecart tracks, no matter what's going on, as many as it can handle. Since this iron building is overloaded, it can't take everything. I end up moving one of the incoming iron lines over to the other side of the gold for the capacitors. And this ends up being the first one that I brought over here, so it's in a kind of a weird spot when it comes to, like, it was elevated, and that other track doesn't make sense the way it's laid now that this one's out of there, I think is what I'm trying to say. And I struggle with where to bring this thing down to the ground. I'm like, nope, there's not going to work because we want it to be over on the other side over there. And then I'm like, whoa, is that? I ran it right next to the building, and I was like, can I go over top of the building? And it was like, no, you can't go over top of the building. I was like, that's a shame. But here I had two more buildings. We're going to be smelting the iron in one of them. And then I moved the bin to the other side in the gold building, and I rework the gold. I have to bring power and water to the new buildings. So we're going to be bringing raw gold over to the building on the far right over there. We're bringing in the refined gold, to the building on the far right over there. And we're bringing raw iron to this building here and refine it and then send it over to the next building. So that's what this is about. I decided to move the water pipe because it's in the way of the mine tracks, and we can just run it somewhere else. Plus, it just made it easy. And we're going to move this all over to the right on this screen just a little bit. I think it's one door over, maybe two. And then that's the wrong building, Wolf. You're doing it anyway. You'll figure it out. It's okay. You'll figure it out. But we add one extra space so we can put the transfer tube on the inside of the arc. All these little space saving tips really help later on when we need to do a lot of stuff in one building. There we go. Now it's going to the right building there, Wolf. Good job. So now we've got... Why'd you delete that green bin? You need it. But now we're going to try to get this as compact as possible. So we're going 3 spaces away from the edge, and we're facing them out towards the edge. And we're using the most compact setup we can think of. And right here is where he notices that he doesn't need the third little tab on those. Yeah, right there. Like, wait a minute. Maybe not yet. It's very soon. What is that, 12? I don't know how many ovens we put in here, but it's more than enough to deal with the iron we're putting in. So, yeah, right there. Right there. I'm like, wait a minute, why 3? This can be 2. Bang, 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 bam, bam, thank you, ma'am. Now it's 2. And it works exactly the same, but it's 1 space shorter, which is awesome. Because then I do a check right here to see what it would look like if they're going the other way. Can I fit them in there? And it was yes. The answer was yes, you can. And it's very tight. So here's a typical 3 big bins. Now, I split the train station in half right there. If you caught that, I've deleted a big bin and put in 2 small bins. What that does is it separates it into 2 separate containers right there at that split. So now I can feed half of it with capacitors and half of it with the gold fuel. And that temporarily eliminated the need to put in a new train station. And now we're back to working with the combiners. I absolutely love this setup. It's so compact. It's just these three set up just like this. You can rotate it back and forth or keep it the same way. But as far as I can tell, that's as compact as you can get. Like, here's an example of it going the other way. So it's the same three, and I think it's like one and two, one big tile and two little tiles long, and like 7 or 5 big tiles wide, and that's all it takes. It might even be 4 big tiles wide. But grabbing the last of our research, and then something special happens right here. So I'm going to slow it down, and I did the rest of the narration at normal speed. Hey, we hit the goal for the first part of the level. Oh my goodness. Well, I need to continue playing to earn a Minor Extractor's Medallion or return to the scenario selection screen. I'm going to continue playing, and we will get the medallion because we're not even shipping the heaviest stuff out yet. Like, we just started chipping out capacitors, and it's like, oh yeah, you're at 30K now. That's fantastic. We also have 2.65 million research, which means, wabam, oil derricks unlocked. Now we can do this. Woohoo! And check this out. I thought you could place 4 on the same one. That used to be a thing. I thought. Yeah, you used to be able to place 4 on them, and now you can only get 1. Huh. Alright, we'll deal with that next episode. That's going to take a whole episode. But we got quite a bit accomplished today. We are extremely productive now. We need to cook this iron. We need to get this iron out of here. We're backing up on the coal too. We're probably going to have to blow these buildings out and replace them with bigger ones. But that also too will be next episode. Thank you very much, everybody. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like button. It really lets me know that you care. If you enjoyed this series and my channel, go ahead and subscribe. If you want to know exactly when my videos come out, you hit that bell icon and you will get a notification. But you people have a wonderful day. Thanks for tuning in. And we'll see you next time. And with that, Arctic Wolf out.